Let me show you the most expensive lie ever sold to the American middle class. It is painted white, it has a picket fence, and it is quietly bankrupting you, one mortgage payment at a time. You have been conditioned by your parents, by your friends, and by that smiling real estate agent in the navy blazer. They tell you that buying a home is the ultimate sign of financial success. It is the cornerstone of the American dream. But I am here to tell you that the dream is actually a nightmare, dressed in granite countertops and stainless steel appliances. Today, we are going to dissect the real estate lie with the cold, hard precision of a forensic accountant. We are going to prove why renting isn't just okay. It is mathematically superior in 2026. Forget the emotional attachment. Forget the pride of ownership. We are looking at the numbers. Let us start with the amortization scam that the banks conveniently don't put on the front page of your closing documents. Let's run the math. You buy a house for $500,000, you put down 20%. That is $100,000 of your hard-earned after-tax cash leaving your bank account forever. You finance the remaining $400,000 at a 7% interest rate, which is the generous reality of the 2026 mortgage market. You get the 30-year fixed. Your monthly principal and interest payment sits around $2,660. Over 360 months, that translates to roughly $958,000. Let me repeat that. You are paying the bank nearly $1 million for a house that was priced at $500,000. You are paying almost double the sticker price just for the privilege of borrowing the money. But here is the cynical truth that the real estate agent conveniently leaves out of the brochure. In the first 5 years of that mortgage, over 85% of your payment goes straight to interest. You're building about $6,000 in equity per year while paying over $25,000 in interest. You're paying the bank $4 for every single $1 of your own house that you actually own. That is not ownership. That is a leasing agreement with a hostage situation. For the first 15 years of that mortgage, you are simply renting money from the bank. You're a tenant in your own home, except your landlord is a trillion-dollar financial institution that can foreclose on you if you miss a single payment. You didn't buy an asset, you bought a mortgage, and the bank bought you. Now let's talk about the hidden liabilities that those real estate websites don't show you. You think your mortgage is the expense? That is just the cover charge to get into the club. Once you own a house, you just bought yourself a full-time unpaid job in maintenance. The roof doesn't care that you just made your payment, it will leak anyway. The roof needs replacing every 20 to 25 years. That is a $15,000 hit. The HVAC system, $10,000 just to keep the air moving. The water heater bursts in the middle of the night. That is $3,000 in a flooded basement. The foundation cracks, start counting in the tens of thousands. The financial rule of thumb is to budget 1 to 4% of your home's value annually for maintenance. On a $500,000 home, that is $5 to $20 grand a year in pure, non-recoverable cash burn. And we haven't even mentioned the vampire that is property taxes. In Texas, you pay over 2% annually. In New Jersey, it is even higher. That is roughly $12,000 a year you are paying to the government for the privilege of owning something you're still paying the bank for. That money goes into a void. It never comes back. It doesn't increase the resale value dollar for dollar. A new roof doesn't add $15,000 to the sale price. It just prevents the buyer from asking for a discount. This is not an asset. This is a subscription service with a really high cancellation fee and a maintenance plan that makes even the most expensive luxury car look cheap. This is where the lie gets absolutely murderous. It is called opportunity cost. This is the single most overlooked factor in the homeownership debate. You put $100,000 into a down payment. That is $100,000 that is no longer in your brokerage account. Instead, let us imagine you invested that cash. The stock market historically returns an average of 10% annually before inflation. You're 30 years old. You put that 100 grand into a low-cost index fund. You do nothing else. You don't add another dime. Over 30 years at a conservative 10%, that $100,000 compounds into roughly $1,745,000. Now, you add the difference between your mortgage payment and your rent each month. Let's say you rent for $2,000 a month. You're saving $660 a month compared to the mortgage. You invest that too. Over 30 years, you don't end up with a house, you end up with nearly $2 million in liquid, accessible, tax-efficient wealth. Meanwhile, your friend who bought the house, after 30 years, he has a fully paid-off house worth maybe $1 million, if we are being extremely generous with appreciation. But he spent $1.2 million in payments, taxes, and repairs. His net profit is negative. He has a place to sleep, but he is cash poor. You, the renter, have a portfolio generating $200,000 a year in passive income. Who looks stupid now? Let's talk about liquidity, or rather the complete and total lack thereof. Your house is the most illiquid asset on the planet. Yes, the online estimate goes up, making you feel rich on Sunday mornings when you scroll through your phone. But to access that wealth, you have to sell the house. That means incurring 6% realtor fees, plus closing costs, plus a mountain of stress, or you take out a home equity loan. But that means you're borrowing against your own wealth at a variable interest rate. You're paying interest to access your own money. Let that sink in. You are paying the bank to lend you your own equity. Compare that to a stock portfolio. If you need cash, you sell a few shares. It takes 3 days to settle. You have total control. You are the price maker. If the market crashes, you feel it, but you don't have to sell. If you lose your job and need to sell your house in a downturn, you are forced to sell at the absolute bottom. You are a price taker. You are trapped. The house becomes a golden cage, and the door only opens when the market decides to let you out. Here is the rule that the financial elite used to make this decision in about 5 seconds. It is called the 5% rule. It states that the unrecoverable cost of owning a home is roughly 5% of the home's value per year. That is your property taxes, your maintenance, and the cost of capital you wasted instead of investing it. If you rent a home worth $500,000 and your rent is less than $25,000 a year, which is roughly $2,100 a month, you are wealthier by renting. You are effectively living in a home that costs you less than the sum of its inherent financial decay. You are arbitraging the landlord's poor investment math. Renting gives you optionality. It gives you mobility. The average American stays in a home for only 7 years. 7 years is not enough time to overcome the transaction costs of buying and selling, let alone the amortization curve. You're buying a home to build equity, but you're selling it before the equity even has time to cook. You're just paying the bank's interest and the realtor's commission for the privilege of moving your furniture. Do you think the ultra-wealthy are buying primary residences as their primary wealth-building tool? Absolutely not. They live in massive estates, sure, but that is a consumption good. The rich own income-producing assets. They own commercial real estate, they own apartment complexes, they own the mortgages, not the houses. They are the bank. You are the renter. The wealthy understand that a primary residence is a lifestyle choice, not a financial investment. If you buy a house because you want stability, because you want to paint the walls, or because you want a yard for the dog, that is fine. But do not confuse that with building wealth. It is a consumption good just like a car or a yacht. It just costs a hell of a lot more and takes longer to sell. The psychology is the most dangerous part of this equation. When you buy a house, you chain your identity to it. You become the homeowner. You start caring about curb appeal. You start comparing granite countertops with your neighbors. The house becomes a status symbol, and a status symbol is just a tool to keep you running on the treadmill of keeping up with the Joneses. The financial independence community will tell you to own your home outright to reduce risk. But at today's interest rates, paying off a mortgage early is financial suicide. You're paying down 4% debt while the market is returning 10. The anxiety of a mortgage is a shackle. It forces you to stay in a job you hate. It prevents you from taking risks. It turns you into a corporate slave. In 2026, the housing market is a correction waiting to happen. Prices are completely detached from fundamentals. The price-to-rent ratio is at an all-time historical high. You are not buying shelter. You're buying a speculative lottery ticket with a highly leveraged downside. If you bought the peak in 2022, you are statistically underwater right now. Interest rates are at 7%. Inflation is sticky. The central bank is not your friend. The tax benefits of homeownership, the standard deduction is so high now that unless you have a massive jumbo loan, you aren't even itemizing. The mortgage interest deduction is dead for the vast majority of Americans. That is yet another pillar of the real estate lie that has crumbled. So what is the solution? Rent cheap. Rent below your means, take the savings and invest the difference with ruthless discipline. Maximize your liquidity. Build a portfolio that pays you, not the bank. Build cash flow, not drywall. That is the path to real freedom. The American dream was sold to you by people who profit when you buy. Do not confuse their sales pitch with your financial reality. Look, I'm not saying you shouldn't buy a house. If you want the white picket fence, go for it. That is your choice as a free adult. But I am saying this, stop calling it an investment. Call it what it is, a luxury, a lifestyle choice. A very, very expensive hobby. If you want to build generational wealth, you do it with cash flow, equity in productive enterprises, and hard math, not drywall. That is the ugly truth. Don't like it? Good. That means you're thinking. That means the cynical wealth architect just did his job. Hit subscribe if you can handle reality without a safety net. I will see you in the next one.